and its first win at the Garden since 1978. More numbers. Dick Versace is 3-0 as the Indiana head coach. Chuck Person hit for 29 points on the evening, and rookie Rick Smits added 21 as the Pacers remained hot for their new head coach with a 127-108 win over the Celtics on the parquet floor. A thriller in San Antonio. Spurs trailed Houston at home 37-10 after one quarter, came back and sent the game amazingly into overtime. Akeem Olajuwon tallied 29 points. Purvis Short added 26 as the Rockets pulled away in the extra stanza and beat the Spurs 122-117. At Milwaukee, the Nuggets lost their fifth straight on the road. Larry Kristowiak pumped in a career-high 27 points, and Terry Cummings contributed 25 as the Bucks belted Denver 123-106. Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen 24 each as Chicago handled the Hornets. Mark Jackson 19 as the Knicks won on the road over Detroit. Barkley 25 for the Sixers. John Williams 28 points as Cleveland beat Phoenix. Dallas and Golden State. Sacramento and the LA Clippers. Danny Manning out for the year with torn ligaments in his right knee. In college basketball at North Carolina, the 8th-ranked Tar Heels got 25 points from Kevin Madden as UNC dumped ACC foe Maryland 88-72. Top-ranked Duke demolished William & Mary. Charles Smith.
The lineup. Could the Kings get the LA twin killing? It certainly looked like it early on as Charles Smith misses the jumper. Ball's knocked out. Kenny Smith to Rodney McRae, gets it to go. McRae, by the way, had the triple-double. Kings lead early, and they lead by a bunch. But in the third, the Clippers come back. Gary Grant to Ken Norman. The spinning move down the lane wasn't called for traveling. That cuts the lead to 2. Then in the fourth, L.A. does it again. They go ahead, in fact, Quentin Daly. He had 12 in the quarter, 26 in the game. L.A. is up by 6, but they let it go. And with just seconds, and I mean seconds to go, 2 and then 1, Kenny Smith hits the 20-footer, and that was the game winner.
Kings in the dark. Gary Grant, the jumper on Kenny Smith there as Jerry Reynolds ponders that shot. Later on, some good offensive moves. Joe Wolf runs through the lane, and he lays it up with the left hand. Wolf had a meager 8 points. Again, it's Wolf. After the scramble underneath, he finally picks up the loose change off the Norman miss, and Wolf puts in the rebound. Danny Manning on the bench, well-dressed despite the injured knee. Seconds left in the game. Kenny Smith. 17-footer, good. 1 second left. That was a game winner, folks. Kings win it on the road, 106-104, with the Golden State winning that one by a point, 107-106. Winston Garland won it with a short jumper with just 1 second left. The Mavs.
Abdul-Jabbar fading off stage left after 20 years in the NBA as the dominant man in the middle for most of those 2 decades. Who is his heir apparent? Akeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, Robert Parrish, or Moses Malone? Akeem the Dream is now in his 5th season with the Houston Rockets. The 7-foot, 250-pound native Nigerian has averaged more than 22 points and 12 rebounds per game throughout his entire career, although his numbers this season are even better than that. Arguably, Akeem Olajuwon is not only the best all-around athlete among the NBA centers, he may well be the best all-around athlete in the NBA, period. And if not Olajuwon, it could be New York's Patrick Ewing. The cornerstone of a franchise on the rebound, Patrick Aloysius Ewing is in his 4th season of a 10-year, $30 million contract with one of the NBA's marquee teams, the Knicks. Ewing, a supreme shot blocker, has averaged more than 15 points but less than 10 rebounds per game during his first 3 seasons. However, he is enjoying his best season as a pro by far so far. And if Ewing and Olajuwon are the dominant centers of the present and the future, then Moses Malone and Robert Parrish are the centers of the days of future past. Moses Malone, going on 34, working on his 4th team in the NBA after spending 2 seasons in the old ABA, has been a winner wherever he's been. In his 12 seasons in the NBA, Moses has led his teams to the playoffs 10 times, been selected to the All-Star team 11 times. He's been the league's MVP 3 times. And in Atlanta, he and the Hawks are only 4.5 games behind the torrid Cleveland Cavaliers in the Central Division. And maybe the most underrated, underpublicized star player in the NBA is Robert Parrish. Surrounded by a cast of superstars, Bird, McHale, Ainge, and Dennis Johnson, Parrish's consistency in his 13 seasons in the NBA, 9 of them in Boston, is often overlooked. by everyone except the Celtics and their opponents. But the Chief is 35 years old now, although his scoring average and his rebounds per game this season are ahead of his lifetime stats. Of all the centers, Olajuwon has the most impressive numbers of all, averaging more than 24 points and less than 14 rebounds per game this season. Maybe his most astonishing stat is that Akeem is averaging nearly 3 steals per game. Extraordinary for a big man, almost twice as many as Patrick Ewing. Ewing is scoring well, still not a dominant rebounder, but as a shot blocker, he's certainly on a par with Olajuwon. Malone can still do it, still a 20-point-per-game scorer, still a dominant rebounder, and Robert Parrish is always there, quiet, but consistent.
Garden Network presents Coca-Cola High School Sports Week.
Down. And obviously I had to let my game go down. Lost a job, a career, but I lost those things. But the main thing I lost was a lot of self-respect and self-esteem.
John Lucas is one of a handful of NBA stars who have indeed lost a lot, cashing in their careers for that insidious enchantress, cocaine. But almost no one was prepared for what happened last June when, less than 24 hours after the Celtics made him the second pick in the draft, University of Maryland All-American Len Bias died from a massive overdose of cocaine at the age of 22.
When I heard that happen, frankly, I left the office. It ruined my day. To see a young, viable, strong, wonderful athlete, life is ahead of him for whatever reason he was taken from this earth, it's a real tragedy.
But in retrospect, the Bias tragedy was also the next step in an illogical progression, the last frontier, you might say, of drug abuse.
What we have found is that there have been some pretty strong-willed, tough-minded individuals who have gotten involved, and this thing has just knocked them down to the knees and to the ground, and they have not been able to overcome like they thought they would when they first got involved.
Indeed, before Len Bias, cocaine had already clouded the lives and destroyed the NBA careers of Michael Ray Richardson, John Drew, and David Thompson, to name just a few of the most publicized cases.
Once you're involved, you never feel like you're going to be the one to get hooked. You hear about different people having problems with drugs, but you think that it would never happen to you. And after a certain period of time, your use becomes greater and greater, and before you know it, you have a severe problem. And that's exactly what happened to me. I wanted to seek some adventure, and I was out with some friends at a disco, snorted a little cocaine. I said, hey, this is great stuff here. This is great. And I read about it. It was rich and famous, and it's flowing. Next thing I do, every time I would be around, I would have some.
When they put me out of the league and I start spending all of my cash, I hit rock bottom. I could be sure of you, you never lie. You're so different now. Are you going down that cocaine train?
Drugs, of course, are society's problem, the octopus whose tentacles reach all walks of life with the same disastrous results.
And I'd get mad and frustrated. People didn't understand me. The pipe say, come on in the room with me. I got you covered. I know how you feel, Rich. I understand. Just light me up, hold me for a couple of days, and we'll talk it over.
In basketball, the NBA points proudly to its progressive drug policies, which are, first and foremost, compassionate, and then only punitive as a last resort. And there is also the hope of rehabilitation and recovery, as in the cases of Marcus Johnson and Walter Davis, who must battle their addictions every day of their lives. But there's also a harsh reality that despite whatever privacies may be invaded, the best and most feasible way for sports to counterattack is through mandatory testing.
I think we got a severe problem, and I think we have to get to a point where we prevent and detect early. I think mandatory drug testing in schools. First day of school, mandatory. Kids shouldn't have rights until they're 18 anyhow. You know? I say that facetiously, but really, to clean this thing up, because that's where these parasites, these people who prey on our children, are gaining the edge.
Of course, even with mandatory testing, there is also this seemingly inescapable conclusion reached by Jerry West.
I think something more tragic, maybe this might have to happen before people realize that drugs can kill you. And they have killed, and they've killed a lot of people.
So that, in the end, may be the legacy of Len Bias. And if his death is to have real meaning, it's a doctor who has the best advice.
I can't see myself, doing something that I can get arrested for and my freedom taken away from me. I enjoy my life too much. And I have too many people depending on me to be here than to do something that's stupid, that I can actually go to jail for.
There, then, is the ultimate truth, to simply say no. And if your game happens to be basketball, to understand fully that you can make more magic inside the white lines than over them.
And I figured that nothing else can make me any higher than coming down, making that great pass, and looking up from a guy for 2 points. And I think everybody lives on a high if they want to be, because, like I said, God has blessed us to wake up. So that's a natural high there that everybody should be thankful for.
And company, they're one reason Illinois is still unbeaten. Number 5, Michigan, they're of course led by Big Ten scoring champ Glenn Rice and a cast of thousands. This should be a beauty tomorrow in Champaign.
The Big Ten scoring champion.
Now Michigan's here, and I still don't want to talk about them because I've seen them play too many times. I have satellites, so I've seen all of their games that have been on TV, and they're awesome.
It's going to be a tough game for us and Michigan also. It's going to be so many great athletes out there this Saturday. And, it's not going to be just one person that you can point out there Saturday. You're going to have to focus on a lot of people.
Well, I think it keeps us up on a high mood. I think we're going to go in to the game Saturday well prepared, and, everyone's going to get home and get good rest tonight. And hopefully Saturday we can get in there and get us a win.
Louisville on Sunday, and tomorrow travels to North Carolina to meet Jim Valvano's Wolfpack. Of course, the controversy has headed the headlines, but on the court, did you know that the 16th ranked NC State team will have its first attempt at a top 20 team? They will have to contend with Tommy Hammond, who is averaging 22.4 points per game and 8.5 rebounds.
You can't really stop him. I think the best thing you have to do is try to contain him and not let him do what he wants to do and just try to make him have an off night. But we're just going to probably run different defenses at him and just try to irritate him.
NC State.
Georgia Tech, on the other hand, will have to contend with Chris Corchiani and his playing-making ability.
Chris Corchiani's an outstanding point guard.
Said the coach for Loyola Marymount, he's just seen the ball go in the basket, but this year it's the other team jamming the ball down his throat. That's Stanley Brundy right there for the Blue Demons. Still in the first half, Lions cut the lead. Jeff Fryer, long-range three-pointer. He had 9 3-pointers. 9 3-pointers in this game. Now Loyola gives it to their #1 scorer, Hank Gathers, right there. #1 scorer in the country. And he has 26 points today for Hank Gathers. We go to the second half, though, and the Blue Demons ice the victory with Stanley Brundy sending Hank Gathers' shot back. Airmail Express sets up the Terrence Green jam. And at that point, DePaul led 106-96, 42 points in the game. Stanley Brundy, 41 points, 22 rebounds. Hank Gathers, who leads the nation in rebounding and scoring, had 26 points. Meanwhile, one of the great rivalries in college basketball, Notre Dame against UCLA, 24th ranked UCLA. Hey, there's Goose Gossage. What's he doing? Counting paychecks he's still getting from the Padres, probably. Anyway, Kevin Walker with the rainbow three-pointer right there. Irish cut the lead with a hoop from LaFonso Ellis. This guy narrowed his choices between Notre Dame and UCLA. He took Digger Phelps and Notre Dame. And Pooh Richardson from the top of the key cans a three-pointer. He's the nation's leading three-pointer as far as percentage-wise. 57-55, UCLA led. Now, second half, inside there, that's Kevin Ellery to LaFonso Ellis for the jam. Notre Dame led by 3. Big play for the freshman inside. It's LaFonso Ellis following a Jameer Jackson shot.
Boomer liked what he saw in the first half. Maryland on the break. Walt Williams to Jesse Martin for the jam. The Terps came back to take a 1-point lead. It was 29-28. But All-American Danny Ferry hits the leaner and gets the foul here. 37-32. Duke was up by 5 at the half. Second half, Quinn Snyder makes the first of 3 successive steals and jams it home. 49-41 Duke. Then Snyder nailed the three-pointer to make it 54-41. Want to see more? Phil Henderson with the feed to Danny Ferry for the easy layup. He takes it in. It was a 14-0 run by Duke. Coach K, another day at the office, 82.
Who the Clippers will pick in the coming draft.
We know he's going to be back. He's going to be back. And if you say he's going to be 100%, I don't know. There are cases that athletes have had this type of operation. They came back and they were 100%. We just have to see how it's going. I just think that he's going to be Danny Manning at 85% will be better than most players. So, you know, we just have to wait and see how this season goes to decide what type of player we'll be looking for in the draft.
Now, it should also be noted that